What?
Yeah,
Yeah, why would you do that?
Test me, Logan.
She is not happy.
Okay, you ready for the code? Here's the code.
Yeah.
All lowercase. U B S I G B G.
Wait, what? This class code isn't valid.
No, we don't need that.
The class code isn't valid. I am not.
U V S I G B G. G as in grape. Okay, here.
I got it. I got it.
You good?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Alright, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons? The saddest bunch I ever met. And you can bet before you somehow. Alright, let's go! Alright, CJ, you got one on your desk? You do. Alright, let's get going. So, here's the deal. I didn't give you the triangles one, did I? Did it have triangles on it? Good. Alright, so using the quadratic formula. So first of all, let's write down what the quadratic formula is. Does anybody know it?
Yes.
Negative b, so opposite of b, plus or minus, square root of b squared,
Minus 4ac over 2.
all over 2a. Now, why do you know that, while other people don't? You just do? Well done. Nice job, nice job. So, a lot of the time when you teach algebra, you teach kids to memorize this, you teach them a little song, etc. I'm not going to do any of that crap, okay? You know I don't. If you don't remember what that is, what can you do if you forget what the formula is? You can derive it, right? You can derive it. You can start with a standard form of an equation, right? Of a quadratic equation. And then you can get it yourself. That's my opinion on that. Okay? So, I will not be teaching you a song. I will not be doing stuff to help you memorize the quadratic formula.
You play a song in your guitar.
No, I can't. So, if you forget it, your strategy should be to derive it. Okay? Come up with it. Did you guys practice deriving it yesterday at all? Anybody? You took your one shot yesterday? Did anybody else take their one shot? You did and it didn't go well? You did? Okay.
I did the one before.
Awesome. No, you have until Friday because we're going to grade it in class Friday. Okay? You did? Okay, awesome. All right. You feel decent, Shambaugh? Okay. All right. Better though, right? Okay. All right. I put in grade quiz 2 grades. Because that was a Desmos quiz, I forgot to even grade it. I'm sorry that hasn't been in so long. So I put that in yesterday. I graded quiz 2. Some of you guys need a retake on that. Most of you did not. Okay? Right, I did that too. Yeah, everything I had with me yesterday, I did grade. It was only this much. The rest was back there, and I obviously didn't have it with me. I know. I know. Hey, what's up? What's good? Okay.
She was for Rusty.
Are we good? Like, what's the issue though?
You can just move it forward, and then you gotta move forward.
I moved them forward.
Okay, got it.
We're good now.
Alright. Cool. Alright, so, quadratic formula. It gives you x when y is 0, right? So it tells you where a parabola crosses the x-axis, right? That's what it's telling you. Now, we have lots of ways of doing this, but the most efficient way, for a lot of the time, is just to plug in your A, B, and C values and get your answer. So, for number 1, what's A equal to? All right, algebra students, shut up.
Okay.
Thank you. What's A for number 1? M would be the variable. You're using M instead of X. A is the coefficient, right? 1. What's B? Try again. Try again. -5. Right? Standard form of an equation. A, B, and C are the coefficients, right? And then C must be what? right? It's all the standard form. Now they use m instead of x, which should not confuse you.
Is this the same thing we were doing last week?
And turn my opinion in a little bit. And
Yep.
get your glasses.
Yep, that's cool.
Thanks.
All right, so relax. I hear you. So, Jordan, standard form of an equation, right? A, B, and C are the coefficients. Coefficient here is 1. Coefficient here is -5. Coefficient here is -14.
Oh.
That's it. It's just the parameters.
I haven't done one in a while.
It's cool. So those are those values. Okay. We're going to plug them into this, and it's going to tell us what x would be. Now, it tells us what x will be when y is 0, right? And that's what we want to find. Notice that y being 0 is very important, otherwise this thing doesn't make any sense. Right? It tells you where the parabola crosses the x-axis, and whenever we cross the x-axis, we have a coordinate of something, comma 0, right? So, let's plug them in. We do the opposite of b. What's the opposite of b? What's the opposite of b? 5, right? That's all negative means, the opposite, right? So if it's already negative, you make it positive. Ladies in front. Thank you. Then we do b squared. What's b squared? Only thing funnier than 24? 25. And then we subtract whatever 4 times a times c is. Well, what's a? 1, so that's really easy to multiply. And what's c? -14. And then we divide that by double a. What's double a? Just 2 in this case, right? Just 2. So, -4 times 1 is going to be -4, right? And then 2 negatives make a positive, so forget about that. It's 4 times 14. What's 4 times 14? 4 times 10 plus 16, right? So 56. And we said it was positive, right? Because 2 negatives make a positive. Right? 25 and 56. What's 25 plus 56? Better question, what's 25 plus 50? Now add 6. 81. And we know the root of 81. What's that? 9. Now, will these always work out nicely? Oh no. Oh no. Okay? But it did this time. So it's 5 plus or minus 9 over 2. We get 2 answers out of that. 5 plus 9 is what? Divide by 2 is? 7. So one of our answers, notice I'm not using coordinates because that's an x value. One of our answers is 7 for x. What's our other value for x? 5 minus 9 is? -4 divided by 2 is? -2. So one way to show this is to show that our two x values are 7 and -2. Notice that's not a coordinate, right? If you wanted to write that as a coordinate, you'd write it like this, 7 comma 0. Right? When y is 0, x is 7. And when y is 0, x is -2. Two possible answers. That's where it crosses at 7, 0, and -2, 0. Okay? Yep. 81 rooted. Yep. Yeah, Jace.
5 to 25 is 16. How did you get 5 and 9? How did you get some 9?
25 and 56 makes 81. What's the root of 81? 9. So it's 5 plus or minus 9 over 2. Okay, good question. Parker. Guys, I cannot hear. And it's really obnoxious because most of the things you're talking about aren't even math. So one way to represent our answer is like this. It's not a coordinate, right? It's just saying that x is 7 and -2. Those are our answers. It's kind of a set notation, really, is what I should do is this. And that's our set of possible answers, right? Or you could write it as 2 coordinates. Because notice it is where it crosses the y-axis, or the x-axis. Okay? So this is the answer you're going to see most of the time. But this is another way you can see it. Okay? Notice these are not coordinates. Okay? Number 2, what's our a value? Now this is kind of weird because I use b as instead of x. But what's our a value? Try again. It's the coefficient, 1. And our b value, don't be fooled because they use b's. Those are x's. -4. Don't lose the negative sign. It's important. And then c is 4. So, opposite of b, what's that? Opposite of b is 4. Plus or minus b squared, which is? Negative times negative is positive, so it will be positive 16, right? When we plug it in, we wrap it in parentheses. So it's 16. Minus whatever 4 times a times c is. Well, a is 1, so I'm not even going to write it. And c is 4. Ooh. So we just get 16, don't we? right? 4 times A times C. 4 times 1 is 4, times C is 16. All over double A, 2. 4AC, when I put them all together, 4 times A is 4, times C is 16. Okay? So we get 0 in the root. Now remember, square root is asking what number times itself gets me 0? No, not nothing. What times itself gets you 0? 0 times itself gets you 0. So the root of 0 must be 0. So we have 4 plus or minus 0. Well, that's just going to be 4. Either way, right? What's 4 divided by 2? 2. Now, we learned yesterday, or 2 days ago, about the fundamental theorem of algebra. It says that every polynomial should have roots equal to the power, the highest power. So there should be 2 answers here, right? And we did get 2 answers. We got 4 plus 0 over 2, and we got 4 minus 0 over 2. They just happen to equal the same thing. So what that means is that our parabola crosses at 2, 0. Right there. It crosses twice. Otherwise known as it's the vertex. When we get the answer the same twice, we get the vertex. That's going to be its vertex form. Right? 2. Why do we get 2 of them? Well, look. Choose the answer for both. Right? 0 here? Because remember, this equation says that's what x is when y is 0. So we already know y is 0 if we find that's what x is. Okay? We're asking, when does this equal 0? Right? And the quadratic formula tells you when x is 7 or it's negative 2. Here, it's when it's 2 or it's 2. Okay? And so when we get the same answer twice, what it really means is that that's the vertex. And when you expand that vertex form, you'll see that, look, 2 would be the answer twice, right? 2 gets a 0 here, and 2 gets a 0 there. If I were to write vertex form over here, I'd have to write x minus 7, x plus 2, right? And then I'd have to do stuff. And then work to get into vertex form, right? Alright, so these 2 problems were similar because what? What was similar about number 1 and number 2? Well, they all equal 0 because we're asking when do they equal 0. Yeah. A is 1 for both, right? What do you notice about 3 and 4? A is not 1, right? Now, normally what we would do is we'd pull out a 2, we complete the square, yada yada yada, we figure it all out, right? And again, that works when the numbers are nice. So far we've had nice answers, okay? Like 7 and negative 2 and positive 2, right? When the answers are weird, then it's easier to use this. Now, these are all going to be nice for the first bit. And really the only difference between what we did here and here and what we're going to do here is that A is going to be 2. So you're going to plug in 2 for A now. Yeah, that's it. So A is 2, B is 2, and C is what? Negative 12. Do not forget your signs. So now we use p-fag. Or not p-fag, sorry, I'm thinking geometry. Oh boy. Quadratic formula. Yeah, stop it. So we do opposite of b, which is negative 2. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. What's b squared? Minus 4 times a times c. Let's do a times c first. What do we get? Negative 24. Now we're going to multiply it by 4. Negative 80 minus 16. Negative 96. Yes, go. Did I do that right? Minus 4 AC. Minus, oh, should be positive. This is negative, and then the minus 4 makes it positive. My bad. All over double A. What's double A?
2.
A is 2. Double A is 4. Right? Opposite of B, plus or minus 4. B squared minus 4AC. 4AC became 96. Minus 96 is going to be a positive because it was negative before. So now we've got this, that's 100, right? What's root of 100? 10, right? So we've got negative 2 plus or minus 10. Those are our two answers. Now we can simplify that, right? Negative 2 plus 10 is negative 8, divided by 4 is negative 2. So that's one answer. Negative 2 comma 0 must be a point where it crosses. Now let's subtract. Negative 2 minus 10, what's that? Negative 12, don't lose your signs. What's negative 12 divided by 4? So it crosses there and there. Very thin parabola, right? It crosses at negative 2 and negative 3. It's going to be a very thin parabola, right? Right. Plugging in numbers, I know you guys can do. You can. Finding the numbers, I know you can when you're not being dumb, right? Knowing what this is, you have two options. One, memorize it, and I would encourage you to memorize it as you go. Don't try to force yourself to. Let it happen naturally. Or if you forget it, derive it, and you know how to do that, right? That's what we practice. ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, move stuff around. You need to get good with that, because in a pinch, that's what you're going to do to get this, okay? Yeah. Oh, it is positive 2. Yep, because it's 8 here. Negative 2 plus 10 is 8. 8 over 4 is 2. My bad. So, less than we thought. Numbers are hard. Just like with you guys, when I'm teaching, I'm more worried about the concept. I'm sorry I made a mistake, but like, you guys see the concept, right? Minus half to Mr. Math. Shame on me. If I retake it, I get it for free. 4, do it on your own. Yeah. Not a big fan of 4? Why? Well, here's the formula. All right, write down A, B, and C. Don't lose your signs. Plug it in. No, but seriously. I can't learn!
Sorry! I'm doing math. I'm trying to do it in my head.
Okay.
In your head.
What's up?
Okay, I don't know.
And here. Good start. So our formula is going to that form. Negative b plus or minus bracket equals 1. So plug it in when you plug it in bracket. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so
How do we get?
4 times A is 4 times A is 8. And then 8 times 15.
Negative 5 is negative 40. It needs to be a positive point. It's minus what it is, right? Yep. Do it in your head at your own risk. Show all your work and make sure you don't mistake the signs, right? Yeah.
You're just screaming.
I don't care. I'm doing that. Shut up. What? Yes,
Yeah.
Stop.
Bye. Yeah. 49 is the perfect square.
9 divided by 4. That's not okay. That's not okay.
So option A is add. Option B is use. Yeah. The other answer will be 10 divided by 4. Oh, no. These are friends. That's fine. These are friends. I was trying to get another way to write
Where's his name? Scissors up.
right?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, that's super important because once you get an answer, everything else will go. Yeah, I'll get there in a second. Yeah. It would. I think you remember that.
All right. I'll do number 4 and I'll do it nice and big. Cool? Would that answer your question? Okay, if I did it? Okay. So, campers. Embarrassing. Alright, so, here's the original problem. I say A, you say?
B.
2. I say B, you say?
-3.
I say C, you say?
-5.
Awesome. Opposite of B is? 3. What's B squared?
9.
Minus 4 times A times C. What's A?
2.
What's C?
-5.
Is this answer going to come out negative or positive? So if you didn't get a negative, if you got a negative here, it's because you missed your signs. Okay? And then it's all over double A. What's double A? 4. So, all of this we leave till the end. What's 4 times 2?
8.
Times -5?
-40.
So when we subtract -40, we're really adding 40, right?
Yes.
What's 40 plus 9?
49.
What's the root of 49?
7.
With me? Okay. Now we get 2 answers. Answer number 1, when y is 0, we'll get 3 plus 7 over 4. What's 3 plus 7? 10. Divided by 4?
10 over 4.
10 over 4 or 5 halves, right? If you reduce.
Oh.
Right? If you reduce. Then we've got 3 minus 7. What's that? -4 divided by 4 is? -1. So those are the 2 points where our parabola crosses. Yeah.
So we can get those by just using the answer by just adding those.
That's what that means. Yep.
Okay.
It says add or subtract. There's one version where you add, one version where you subtract. It's because a root can be positive or negative, right? So we get 2 different answers, which is good because we would expect to, right? Cool? That's really it. Like, sometimes the numbers will be bigger. But, like, that's it. You'll notice that 16, 17, and 18, I gave you the answer key, have gross-looking answers. Let's talk about that.
No, please not. No.
Can we not?
Today, we're going to talk about jail.
Jail.
Yes, we've all been. I'm not going back. I refuse.
Oh, boy.
What were you in for?
Can we not?
Pretend you don't know what the root of 169 is. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Can we have a story time?
we can break that up.
No? Okay.
169 is divisible by 13.
How would you know that?
Trust me on this for now, okay? Which means another way to write 169, right? Instead of writing 169, I could write 13
Times 13.
squared. Now what happens to squares and square roots? They cancel. So that means the square root of 169 must be 13. Now, obviously, I knew these off the top of my head. But do you see how if we break it down, ladies in the front, I swear to God, the amount of questions I get from you, come on, help yourself. So, ladies in the back as well. So, we can rewrite a number as its factors, and then we can figure out what the square will be. So, for instance, what's the square root of 3 squared times 4 squared times 2 squared?
You think I know? Oh, you give it all the squares.
Yeah, right? It's all multiplication. So we can get rid of all the squares. It would be 3 times 4 times 2, which is 24.
That's got squares.
Right? The squares and the roots cancel. It's all multiplication, so it's all one term, so you can cancel it. Now, 3 squared plus 4 squared plus 2 squared under a root, you cannot cancel.
Why not?
You can't, because let's check it out. If we canceled we'd get what? If it does cancel, we'd get 3 plus 4 plus 2. What's 3 plus 4 plus 2? 9, which means that should equal 3, right? But if we don't cancel, this is 9 plus 16 plus 4, which is 25 plus 9, which is 29. Is the root of 29 3? No. Do you see how adding, we can't remove the roots? Because if we do, we get 3. And the answer should be root 29, which is not 3, right? Here, though, we can remove the roots. Because 3 times 3 times 4 times 4 times 2 times 2 is going to be this times 3 times 2 times 4, 6, 4, 24, 24. It's going to be 24 squared. And when we root it, we get 24. So 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 2 times 2 is 4. When we multiply those all together, 9 times 16, what's that? 90 plus 54. What's 90 plus 54? 144. 144 times 4. 100 times 4, 40 times 4, 4 times 4. 16 plus 160 plus 400 is 566. And if you root 566, you get 24. It works. So you can do it when it's all one term, multiplication. You can't do it when it's all addition or subtraction because that's multiple terms. So let me give you a number. What is the root of
6.
Let's do 105. Now you might know that's not a perfect root, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's pretend we're dumb and we don't know, and we're going to try and find out. What can you break down 105 into? What's another way to write that in multiplication? We don't want to do addition, because remember, addition we can't get rid of roots. We need to break it down by multiplication. So give me factors of 105. Factor of 5, right? 5 and?
2.
5 times what is 105?
5 times 20.
Well, 20 would get me 100.
21.
So 21 will get me 105.
80.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Now, 5 can we break down any further? No, 5 and 1. It's prime. 21 we can break down further.
3 and 7.
So another way to write this is 5 times 3 times 7. Are any of these squares? Nope, so it's just 105. That's as simple as it gets. Can't bust anything out. Now, why do I talk about jail? Because square roots are a lot like jail. In order to get out, you have to have someone that looks like you. You shank them in the back, and you sneak out in their body bag. Let me show you what I mean. Let's do a root of 315. All right, factors of 315. Break it down for me.
3. Well, no, 5.
5 and?
63.
How many times does 5 go into 100?
33. No, 35.
20. So how many times does it go into 300? 60, right? How many times does it go into 15? So 63.
He said 63.
He knows that.
I know he knows. This is done. 63, how do I break that down? Oh, come on.
Wait, 9 and 7.
9 and 7.
I didn't
7's
break
done.
9.
3 and 3. So another way to write 315 is 3 squared times 5 times 7. Now notice, the 5 and the 7, we can't reduce those. They don't have a square, right? They don't have a double. Now 3 does have a double. We have 2 3's inside here. 1 3 sneaks behind the other 3 and shanks him in the back and kills him. And the other 3 sneaks out in a body bag.
I'm really concerned.
1 3 gets out, the other 2 stay. Because they don't have a double, right? So another way to write this is 3 times the root of 35. In that simplified form. 35 can't be done anymore. People in the back. I know I'm being goofy. I'm going to have to split up seats because this just isn't working for you guys. It's not working for me either. There's just way too much talking. And then you guys don't know what's going on. And that's really bad. The rest of my classes, they talk just as much as you guys, but they actually know what they're doing. And the other problem is that like half of you that think you know what you're doing really don't. And we find that on the quizzes, right? So I think we need to change stuff up. But anyway, another way to write 315 is 3 root 35. Because the 3 gets out, and the 5 and the 7 stay. All right, you're staying with me. Yeah.
Gotta say sorry.
Wait here. Wait here.
We take our stuff.
Yes, wait here.
Yes.
No, stay here.